Agenda where's that beer?
Guys, welcome to the episode of Into the West Comics. The name is Frank. The hot dog, corn dog, Paul is here.
What to do, baby? Fresh haircut.
Wow, looking great. No more of that flopping around and whatever.
Well, a little flop. Couldn't get rid of all the flop.
Gotta have some flop.
Some
yeah, you
flop.
gotta bring some flop.
Gotta flop around a little bit.
Brother Marcus is here.
Good evening, everyone. Happy EDC weekend to all of you out there.
I thought you were about to say Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy belated Easter, everybody.
Happy or early.
Or early next
Oh.
year. Yep, you got it. And please welcome our special guest. Met this guy a few months back. We want to talk about his creator-owned project and the future of his universe that he's building out. Local creator, Knicks fan. Let's go, baby. Mr. Jeff Schiller is here.
But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a dream to be here.
Nice of you to lie.
Orange and blue skies, indeed.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's get right into it. This weekend, Front Row Card Show, you're going to be there.
We'll be there.
You just got your second volume funded on the Kickstarter.
Yep.
Nice.
We still got the Kickstarter. Still got 17 days, but yeah, we are fully funded already. Yep.
All right.
Cool, very cool. Congratulations on that.
Yep. So yeah, it's been going pretty good. The Kickstarter funded probably a couple days in. You know, with the volume, like the collections like these, I try to keep it kind of low because I don't need to pay for new art.
Mm-hmm.
So I just try to fund it as fast as possible, get it to the people that are waiting for trades, stuff like that. Because I get a lot of foreign backers who do like digital for the single issues.
Oh,
And then when the trade comes out, they just get the physical all collected like that.
Oh, very cool.
Very cool.
nice. Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, it goes pretty cool. And because the best thing about it is, like I said, you don't have to pay the artist. So if we overfund like we are now, like we're at 116%. So say we get to 200%, that all that money is going straight to the next comic. You know what I mean? So I don't have to worry about, you know, going back into my savings or my credit cards or whatever the hell else. So yeah.
Right. I wanted to ask you, as far as putting the story together for Magic Powder, how did this come together? How was the process of building out this universe and setting it all up? How did this come about?
Originally, I think the very origin of the story was probably like 2019, and I was sitting, you know, watching TV something, and I had an idea of like a hitman elf on a plane with like a sword next to him, and that was all I had at that time. I was like, that would be fucking dope. And I didn't know if it was going to be a screenplay, a comic, I don't know. And then COVID happened, all that stuff, and I was sitting around, I was watching Fargo season 4, and it was terrible. But the guy in Fargo season 4, what's his name? Some Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito?
No. It wasn't Gus Fring. Salvatore Esposito, I do believe is his name.
Oh, there you go.
So this guy, he's on another show in Italy called Gomorrah. And so it's about basically like the projects in Naples and like all the like little, because it's not about the like the Sicilian La Cosa Nostra mob. It's about like the Camorra, which is more of like a up and coming mob in Italy. So it's like they're a lot more like crazy and they got nothing to lose kind of thing. You know, they're more like a Mexican cartel as well as how they operate and stuff. So anyway, I was watching Gomorrah and seeing like ancient Rome have like project buildings and drug wars on top of it and stuff like that. I was like, man, this would be crazy if you took like a fantasy world like Game of Thrones or something like that and like, or Lord of the Rings and just took it all the way to the, you know, modern day times like we live in now and see what the fuck it looks like. So yeah, that's kind of where Magic Powder originated from. Gomorrah and also Shadowrun, I would say, is a huge influence on me. Like growing
the
up,
game?
yeah, because I grew up in the '90s and stuff, and I played Shadowrun for the first time on like Sega Channel, which was like this thing where if you had a Sega Genesis, you could pay the cable company for this crazy cartridge you stuck in.
Yeah.
I kind of remember that.
It was amazing. It was like
I loved it.
Yeah, it was the coolest. It was really like kind of the first experience I ever had with like any kind of like online game because like at the beginning of the month. It would be a new theme, and they put out new games and stuff like that. So that's how I tried like a lot of games I never would have tried otherwise. And Shadowrun was one of those games.
Amazing music too.
Oh,
amazing music.
Jamming, man. Yeah. And so, like, you know, it's basically like kind of a lot like Magic Powder, but more cyberpunk. And also there's human beings, which you don't have in Magic Powder. But just that whole like idea of like fantasy characters having gunfights and stuff like that. That's what's inspired from Shadowrun, I would say.
Nice. And you've been doing a lot of sales at Front Row Card Show too, because that was the first time I saw it too, and I met you there too. And I was like, he's, you know, that whole setup, just the stickers, and you have spin-offs already for this. I mean, give us a little bit about the spin-off with it as well, if you could.
So the spin-off is called The Elf with No Name, which is kind of like a shout out to Clint Eastwood, spaghetti westerns, the Man with No Name, stuff like that. So I was doing, Magic Powder, and it was doing pretty good. And indie comics, everybody's making their own stuff. And I was like, man, someone's going to see what I'm doing and be like, oh, I'll do a Western of that. And I'm like, I got to do that first, you know? So, like, try to get as much money together as I could and find the right artists and stuff like that. I found this guy, Jeff Schiller, who's, like, out of New Hampshire, who's, like, the only American artist I really worked with. Yeah, a lot of my guys are from other countries and stuff. Like Danielle, he's the guy who did all the Magic Powder stuff. And then all the main covers of Magic Powder is my man Samuel Wunzi, and he's out of Nigeria. So like, yeah, we got guys all over the place. And like all kinds of artists. Like I got guys in the UK, Canada, stuff like that. But anyway, so The Elf with No Name, like I said, I was like, and I love Westerns, and I had the name in my mind and stuff like that. And like Blood Meridian was like one of my favorite books ever.
Sure.
And Deadwood's one of my favorite
yeah.
shows ever. And so I was like, man, I got to have a Western, you know? And so it's another way to expand the world too, because like with Magic Powder, I don't want to like exposition everything so everybody knows why elves are this way or why dwarves can't swim and all these other random things that I made up. But with Elf with No Name, I can at least expand the world a little more while telling a totally different story, hopefully. And, so it's been going good. And it was also too, because I didn't want to like just start a whole brand new series that wasn't connected in like, almost like, I guess you could say in fear of like losing your audience, but also kind of like, I wanted to build up the audience for Magic Powder still while having another series. So like say someone does like Elf with No Name, maybe they would also like Magic Powder. If they like Magic Powder, something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much where that came from. And then the stickers, people love free shit. So
I love the stickers.
Yeah.
You kind of took like you kind of took the same sort of route that our friend Stephen Lolito took, where it's just like you wanted a universe, you wanted a Magic Powder universe, And so and then I love the stickers too. Like he has all the homages to like Grand Theft Auto and all these other Pulp Fiction and all these cool. Yeah, that's really rad. And so did he kind of rub off on you a little bit too, or did you guys kind of just come up with this in just parallel?
What happened was
fashion.
The very first time I ran a Kickstarter for Magic Powder was I think November 2021. And my man Steven was also running his first Kickstarter at that time. Happened to be whatever with Box Boy and Whiskers. So, we backed each other, stuff like that. We had never met or anything. We were both in Vegas. It's just coincidental, stuff like that. And then, he didn't really do a lot of Kickstartering after that. He started kind of like branching out more in Vegas and like trying to hit up comic shops and things like that. And as someone who like I have epilepsy, so I'm not really supposed to be driving and stuff. So I got like home base kind of operations. So I'm more like working on the internet with it. So, every time I would do a Kickstarter, Steve would always back it and stuff like that. And then the very first time I did Front Row, he was right next to me. And so that was cool, like seeing Steve and stuff and getting to meet. That's how we met for the first time and everything. And then, but as far as like inspiration and stuff, like how we do, I would say like the sketch cards I did for the Public Defender, my last Kickstarter, that was definitely inspired by Steve.
Nice.
I know there's times where like, he was always like, oh, I don't want to do homage covers and stuff like that. Like he would tell me. And then we'd be at the convention. I would sell out of my Pulp Fiction homage cover, which is the only thing I've ever sold out of at a convention, But it's
I have that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. And so, which is also, if you're getting back to Kickstarter, it's available as a foil limited edition right now for volume 2. Because people love that cover. So I'm like, I got to sell it, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So shout out to Flops, my man Flops on Instagram and everything. He's the artist from the UK who did that cover.
Nice.
But yeah, so anyway, we have the Grand Theft Auto cover. We had the Pulp Fiction cover like on the table at the conventions. And that kind of like draws people over because like, oh, I like Grand Theft Auto. I like Pulp Fiction. Why do you have this shit on your, table? And I'm like, well, my comic book is inspired by these things and stuff like that. So anyway, Steven, like he said like basically in the future, he's kind of like planning to do something like that. So I don't know if he has or hasn't, I don't know. But as far as inspiration with each other goes, I would say those two things have definitely, cohabitated or whatever.
So you were saying that a lot of the artists you work with are from different countries, and do you have like, is it just on Instagram or through some other means? You both know a similar person who works in the space. How are you getting in contact and getting these people to work with you and coming to know them?
I would say it's all the internet. Like the very first person I found was Danielle for Magic Powder, and I found him on Reddit, which is like kind of the hardest place to find anybody. You know what I mean?
Everyone's so anonymous on there.
Yeah, and it's like it was called Comic Book Collabs, the subreddit, and I posted on there. I was like, I'm looking for an artist. I have a dope script idea. I got the money I need for it, all this stuff. And he had also just finished something he was working on with this guy named Ricky Lima, and so he had posted probably the same day. He's an artist looking for this and that. So people were hitting me up on mine. People were hitting him up on his. And then I was like, I got to hit this guy up, see what he's doing. And it just worked out well. Sam, I found in a Facebook group. Twitter was doing a little while. Who else I got? Jeff, I found on Twitter back when it was still called Twitter and they didn't, whatever.
Yeah, I still call it Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. It's always going to be Twitter to me, Right. But yeah, so that's where I found Jeff. And then from there, it's like, when I need a new artist, I'll just kind of hit up other artists. So like with the Public Defender, I worked with this guy, Ignacio, who also did the cover for Elf with No Name 2.
Okay.
And so I was looking for an artist for Magic Powder 7 because Danielle, he doesn't want to, I don't know, he's got a lot going on. So I need a new artist.
Busy guy.
Yeah, I loved it, y'all. And actually, I'm trying to get him in to like a dream sequence kind of thing in the issue 7. Like I don't want to like cut Danielle out completely, but
sure, just a couple pages or something.
Because like I've always had the idea that, because I don't know if you guys have read it yet, but the way issue 6 in the first arc ends, something happens to a certain character where like he's gonna kind of think he's dead, and then he's gonna realize he's kind of like dreaming and all this stuff, and then maybe get out of the place he's in, whatever. But so I kind of wanted to have different artists at the end of every issue of the second arc. So I'm gonna start with Danielle, I think, and then maybe have Jeff do one, because I'm thinking the Elf with No Name will be one of the people this guy sees in his dreams. And then, and just have a couple other artists in it. So yeah, that
sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, because like another part of like doing indie comics, like obviously you got to get people that, you can afford and stuff like that. But also you kind of want to give as many people a chance as you can, get them out there a little bit. That's like why I did the Public Defender in a lot of ways. It was like just to work with every artist I could that, was interacting with me and helping me get my word out and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, each one reach one,
Yeah,
Is this must be the panel you're talking about, where he's just sitting?
Yeah, that is exactly it, bro.
So this is the one where the elf is just sitting there with a sword, just chilling.
Yeah.
He's looking at the looking out. He's on a plane.
Yeah, he's on a plane. He's flying Fez.
Yeah. It's been a little bit since I've read this, so
let's hope that's imagination come to life, right?
But
yeah. And Danielle was amazing at that. Like, everything I would write, man, like he brought it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it's so super like the art is super vivid and full of energy, and just it's like gritty and gruesome, and it's just it's a nice vibe. I really like it. Yeah, you did a good job with this.
I would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys. I would say another big inspiration now that you're mentioning like all the different like mixing stuff was Mortal Kombat.
Oh,
Because
okay.
growing up as a kid, I remember seeing Mortal Kombat in the arcade for the first time, and it was the first time I've seen like a line like it was like a ride at Disneyland or something.
Everybody wanted to try
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
literally, you know. And then it's like, and then you like see what the game was, and it was like the Terminator versus like Jack Burton versus like Bruce Lee versus like all these things. It was kind of like a
Right,
mashup
right.
of all your favorite things, you know. And then so that's kind of what Magic Powder is in a lot of ways. It's like, you know, like I love a lot of fantasy stories. I love a lot of crime stories. I love a lot of like, and like a lot of the names of characters are based on like maybe sports, you know, heroes of mine, things like that. You know what I mean? So it's like everything I can think of, just and like my friends are in it. Like there's cameos of my friends, and like so it's like it's just like an amalgamation of my whole life in a stupid story. You know what I mean? So it's like that kind of thing. I don't know. Like I don't think you're gonna get that anywhere else. I don't know, but
Yeah.
try to make
Nice.
that happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you have like a certain. There's been maybe a Nick or two to appear in an issue, or someone resembling a Newark Nick.
Which now I got to know who you're talking about.
The I can't name it. I don't know the name of the.
No, you don't need
character.
to. But just like,
I'm thinking.
what does he
like,
look like?
He looked like Clyde Frazier.
Oh, Clyde. Clyde's not in the story yet.
Okay.
But there are plans to have, because I posted on Instagram pretty recently a picture of Clyde with like his giant
Yes.
hat on and his clothes. Like,
Yes.
And I was like, this is going to be what the Elf King looks like once we get to it.
Oh, that's dope.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I love Clyde, bro. Like,
Yeah.
That's my man. So like he's going to be the king. So like the very start of issue 7 of Magic Power, the second arc, will start with a little conspiracy thing involving the king, but you won't see him yet.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like the first arc starts with like them mentioning dragons, but you don't see a dragon until the last issue.
Right. Right.
Just that kind of thing. That's also a little like Game of Thrones type of thing where it's like
Sure.
you read that first book and they're talking about all this shit, and then at the end it's like, now magic's
Yeah.
here. So.
Very subtle setup.
Yeah.
You're just kind of learning how the world works just through dialogue and what's going on.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That was definitely a big inspiration. I would say.
I think that's a cool element too. Is what you're saying is that you've been able to contact all of these artists, you know, from all over the world. You're obviously you're not from Las Vegas,
Not
but
originally.
you have the connection to Las Vegas, and they're probably thinking like, "Oh, we're talking to this guy. He's a writer, and he's in Vegas, but you're actually from back east."
Yeah.
And it's like that, and then they're from all over the place, making that connection, and that you're sharing this type of vision for what you have, and that they have different influences for the different from their different art styles. I'm saying is that they have different influence for the way you would try to tell the story or script things out. I think that's cool to get. You have a multicultural influence. You mentioned there's a Nigerian artist that you use.
Yeah,
as well.
Sam does these. Like the first 6 issues have the same A cover artist, which is
It's very cool. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, he's a badass. I'm glad, and he also did the Alpha No Name #1 cover. I was like, if I'm gonna do a shoot off, I'm like, I gotta bring Sam.
Sure.
Yeah, he killed that. We did like a Josie Wales kind of like shout
Oh,
out.
that's dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came out really good. That's one of those things. Like my dad really got me into basically The Godfather and the Western. So like all this shit's kind of his fault. But yeah, so I got to give him credit on that. But overall, with as far as like you were saying, like yeah, it's like I remember talking to Danielle for the first time about doing Magic Powder, and he's in Italy, right? And so I'm like, have you heard of Gomorrah, right? It's an Italian show, and he's like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. And I was just like, well, I don't know, you know, like we'll see if that matters, you know. But he lives in fucking Italy. He don't need to see the show, you know. So it is what it is. But what he did, like when we brought Thez to life, I wanted it to be kind of like New Jersey meets like Italy, like that kind of thing. Like it was like, you know, because it's like it's not in New York, it's not the big city, it's the city next to the big city kind of thing. So it's like that kind of feeling almost. Like even when you see like The Wire and how Baltimore feels when you have Washington D.C. like there and stuff like that. So kind of like that feeling. I wanted Thez to feel like the main town of the story. So like when he brought it to life, yeah, like he still was doing what I thought, you know, but he's doing it from his own, obviously, you know, experiences walking around in those places and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like it's pretty amazing to have a collaborator from a different place like that, and you know, just seeing what they do. Because like as far as me, like being the writer and stuff, I don't really like ask for too many changes from the artist. Like what they do, they do. You know, sometimes it's a little different than I want, but usually it's pretty much exactly what I want. But if it is a little different, at least I'll like kind of ask for an explanation. Because like there's a scene in issue 4 where a character is kind of like recording what they see in their mind onto a VCR, right? And so I had an idea of what the contraption would look like because I wanted it to look like a bit like Weapon X's helmet, you know, when Wolverine was in there, like just a giant helmet.
Right.
But I also wanted it to look like makeshift and like cheap and stuff. So I wanted it to kind of look like a spaghetti strainer on her head, but with like all the wires and stuff like that
Right,
and all
right.
that, you know. So that's how I wrote it and drew it on the storyboards and stuff. And then when Danielle drew it, he did like these like suction cup things, and he said it was based on like Strange Days, which I never really watched, but I should probably. But anyway, so he just thought that was like a better look and a better feel and like more realistic in his mind, like less suspension of disbelief, that kind of thing. And I was like, all right, let's roll.
Man.
You know,
That's collaboration right there.
yeah, exactly,
really
straight
cool.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, some artists. I think I forget who it was. I think it was I forget who it was. It might have been Philip Kennedy Johnson who mentioned that like certain artists, they work better if you just let them go and just do their thing. Others want like direction down to the T. Some don't know what to do with too much direction, or so it's kind of it's one of those little
Kind of like a pitcher in baseball. Some pitchers want their catchers to call every single pitch. Some pitchers want to call their own pitches.
It's funny you say that because the Yankees have a guy named J.C. Escar this year. He's like an Uber driver before he became a Yankee.
I didn't know that.
But he moves around a lot behind the plate, and some asshole on Reddit yesterday is like, I can't stand how much this guy fucking moves, whatever. And I'm like, bro, as long as the pitcher isn't complaining, who cares?
Yeah. As long as the person you're working with doesn't care, who cares?
You're a fan. Just shut up and watch the game, bro.
I watch every Yankee game, and I've never noticed how much.
No,
CJ
me
is
neither
down.
until this guy said it.
Yeah. Never
All
never
I'm thinking
occurred
is like,
to me.
this guy's a hero. You know, he came from Uber and he's hitting homers.
CJ doesn't even play that. Like, he plays every fourth game.
Yeah,
So
exactly. No, this guy was out of pocket.
How could you
bro.
be annoyed?
No,
I
it
don't know.
was
Whatever.
crazy. And when I said that, I literally responded to him like, bro, as long as the pitcher doesn't care, why do you care? He's like, and he just said, fair point.
yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Weird
Let's
thing
move
to care
on,
about.
you know?
But
Like,
anyways,
That's great. So this weekend, Front Row, you've done this a few times.
Yep. I think this will be my third one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That show is like blown up, man.
It's great. It's funny because like
550 tables they're
that's
gonna
it,
have
yeah,
this weekend.
550. And it's like they say, it's a card show, this and that, but like it's everything. There's toys, there's cards, there's comics, there's celebrities, like there's all kind of random stuff going on. It's really a convention. Like I wouldn't call it a comic convention or whatever, but it's not a card show convention either. It's a little bit of everything.
No, they've been able to take a pretty big piece of the comic book community. I mean, they're pretty active, pretty involved. Right. My son lives in Northwest. He's been to the Front Row that they've done in Washington. Okay. He went over to Tacoma, and he said that there was very few comic book vendors. He says it's cards. He goes, it's mostly sports cards. I mean, to be perfectly transparent, I mean, Front Row is majority is sports cards.
Yeah, they're not shy about it.
No, not at all.
They're not trying to lie.
No,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. But it's interesting to see like from all the different locations. That would be kind of interesting to watch. Like being a fly on the wall, kind of watch how the shows kind of change a little bit depending on the city and how the community is. Because you've probably seen a big part of this is that the Vegas community with regards to comic books is pretty tightly knit, and they're pretty supportive of each other. I think it's one of the things that I hear going to other cities. They're like, "Oh, you're from Vegas." It's like comic book community, but there is like pretty strong. Like that's really cool. It's like and it's a nice compliment to hear when you go to these other places and talk to them. So
yeah, I agree with that. Like, and I haven't gone many places since I started making comics. Like, I've been here the whole time, pretty much. I went back home in March for a couple of weeks. But other than that, I've basically just been in Vegas the whole time. But the thing about it, like going back home, is like people don't understand what we have here. Like, I grew up mostly out here. I came here in '89 originally. So, like, I was here basically as the town grew up, you know what I mean? So I grew up with the town in a lot of ways. Like, we didn't have pro sports back then. Now we have pro sports. We didn't have just certain things, you know? Like, even they always told us, like, they'll never legalize gambling in America because that's Vegas's and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, obviously, we traded that to get the pro sports, I feel like. But, so, like, when people, like, I go back home and I see New York and I see New Jersey and all these places, like, these things that existed for hundreds and hundreds of years before I even existed, like, I don't even, like, factor in to be here. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm here or not. But, like, as someone who grew up here in Vegas and stuff, and like you know where it is and everything where it comes from, it's like you feel like more like you're a part of it. I feel like, you know.
Sure.
And so like meeting Steve and stuff like that, and like meeting you guys and meeting James and Alan Wu, man. I did that toy convention, and Alan, I met him there. That was the first convention I ever did, and first time I met Alan, and he's great, man, and he's a really cool guy, and like just even this guy David, who backs all my comics, he came to that toy convention, and he's like, you know, you got anything that I don't have yet? You know,
That's really cool.
You know,
that
and, it was super. And he wanted to sign, you know, autographs, stuff like that. And it's like, you know, someone asks you for your fucking autograph is crazy. I don't know. Like, I know some people charge for it, whatever. I can't imagine in any situation me ever charging for it. But then people are like that guy, like James Tinian or all these other, you know, they're like, guys come with 400 stacks. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta have to charge, or you're never gonna get done. So. Right. it's a little different for someone like me who's like 2 people in a day ask for it. So like, yeah, I get that. But
No, we met Alan at the Free Comic Book Day because he was one of the guys doing a signing.
Yeah, with
at,
Steve,
Gorilla Todd.
yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, I
over
gotta
there.
check that place out.
Yeah, it's a cool shop. Like if you went to comic book stores in the '90s, because I told Todd like this
That's
is
mostly
like the
when
comic
I
book
was
goes,
going to
That's what it feels like in that shop, and it's a cool spot. And it was the first time I saw the store was Free Comic Book Day, so
That's cool.
cool.
Yeah, you
Good
told me
crowd.
you were gonna hit up a few places.
Oh yeah, we went to
I watched some
5
video.
shops.
5,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, went to 5 shops on Free Comic Book Day. It was a good time, man. It was cool to see everybody in the stores. Like places were packed.
Right.
You know, lots of young people.
That's the
kids
best.
getting books.
It's like,
it
because
was-
like obviously
it was
our
cool.
age, we're already into it, but like seeing people coming up. and
Yeah, I'm
getting
not young,
into it.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's always nice to see the stores packed on those days.
No,
It is the
really
Black
cool.
Friday, basically,
Of
of
comics.
of comics.
No, yeah.
That's always like that's always something that I like to stress. Like, go out there, support local. A lot of people, beat that drum about wanting to support your local shops and or local businesses in general,
Yep.
and that's a great way to do it that day. Same with like the card show.
Yep.
Same thing with those. The local stores get together with their booths and they do all that kind of we fellowship in a manner of speaking.
Yeah. I was even thinking like next year we should just get like a shuttle going and just bring all the Vegas comic people to each shop. Just say what up.
Like a party bus.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, definitely. And if I'm gonna be there, we're partying. So like, yeah, definitely.
Nobody has to drive. You pay someone to drive
right.
Oh
you
yeah,
around.
yeah.
and
Designated driver.
Oh my goodness! Oh.
just in case there's a drink flowing. or two.
Oh, if Shane's coming,
He'll be asleep by the time we get to the third store.
Shout out Quan, just linked the video in the chat. So if you're in the chat and haven't watched it yet, go watch it.
You
Oh,
can
nice,
check that.
nice.
That's right.
Good work.
Guys, this week we got the first official trailer for Superman, and there are mixed.
I have very mixed
There's some
opinions.
mixed reviews and thoughts and all of those things. We're gonna check this out. This is like one of the more anticipated films of the year, if not
Definitely.
the summer
It's
for
my
sure.
most
But for
anticipated.
the year, I mean, yeah,
In the comic book community, I would
yeah.
say, yeah, it's number one.
yeah, we're gonna check this out.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah,
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
sure.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for
I
what
know,
some
it's a
might.
lot of
it's
fire,
it's a
but-
lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny.
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States will
representing
cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world. More.
And doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die. Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
the hell is that?
Your choices, your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it. It's somehow become the focal
That
point of
shot
the
is dope.
entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
Must be from southern Kansas. Jesus.
a dog?
Is it me, or does it feel like there was a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife argument preceding that whole interview?
Oh, we're gonna get that in the full.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. That's why I'm like, you know,
I think that whole conversation was edited incredibly poorly for the trailer. It clearly does not happen the way it happens in the film, and it feels incredibly unnatural. And I think it made the conversation, the way they edited it, feel very
Kinda weird.
stilted in their reactions to things. They clearly cut parts of the conversation out,
Right.
and his reactions got really big, really fast, and it was
right.
like
there wasn't a gradual tension.
I'm 100% certain that's not how the conversation is going to be in the movie. They clearly chopped it up,
Right.
but that was one of the more than I would have liked to have said things that kind of I did not love about that trailer. I think there's some really good shots, but I think there's some pretty wonky ones. I think that and this is what I was afraid of, there's way too many characters in this movie. Way too many.
Yeah.
And it almost I hope that maybe most of this is from the first act, and as the movie progresses, these other characters fall away and we focus on Superman. But unfortunately for me, what it feels like is happening is Gunn knows how to direct a movie about teams, Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy, and it feels like he's trying to make a team that Superman has to work with and interact with and work around, and that just, in my opinion, is not what this movie
And it's
should
like
be.
turning into Superman and his amazing friends.
And there's right,
Pretty much.
and there's way too many.
Yeah.
Who's the villain of this movie?
Right,
Is
right,
it the
right,
engineer?
Lex?
Is it Lex Luthor? Is it what is
The
clearly
Hammer of Baravia.
who is clearly going to be like Ultraman or something?
Is it razor saw hand?
It feels like there's a lack of focus, and it's disappointing.
Yeah.
As someone who is incredibly excited for this, that did not make me, if anything, it made me worried about it.
Right.
Jeff, what'd you think?
As someone who doesn't usually watch trailers, I would say it did nothing for me. Overall, the only thing I liked about it was my man from Identity and Deadwood is his dad. Other than that, I don't know. Like he, first of all, there is way too much going on. Second
Yeah.
of all, they're starting, like that scene, like you said, is disjointed and all this stuff, but it's like, I doubt that's anywhere near the beginning of the movie.
Right.
So why is the trailer starting with that? I don't know. Overall, I don't know. Obviously, people are going to go see it as Superman, whatever. But I'm not like pulled in by any of the actors. Like I said, the guy, my man, whatever. But it's like him and his crazy beady eyes. Like,
But you want to go into a Superman movie and think whatever?
no, I don't. But,
No,
but to be honest, though,
no,
I'm
that's-
not going to lie. I'm not one of these people who ever has been hyped for Superman about anything.
And when a trailer's just meh, it's not going to
It's not going to make me.
and
now it's time.
And even I haven't seen the gentleman that you're hyped about being in anything else.
Right.
I did not like his line delivery on
No,
that
it
little.
was corny.
It felt like he was like dying almost, and he was like, "You are great because of your actions." And I'm like, "What is happening? Are you good, bro? Are you having a stroke? What is going on?"
Maybe he's one of the robots.
I don't know. And the line delivery, I mean, I get they're supposed to be country and like hokey or whatever, but Ma Kent's line delivery also feels like it's from a spoof.
Right.
I'll get your booch. Like, okay, yeah. Superman's parents are supposed
put
to
a
be
little more draw on it.
They're
than-
from
just a little.
They're from Kansas, and they're supposed to be kind of
Southern Kansas,
hokey,
apparently.
but also
Yeah.
it
Deep
feels
South
like
Kansas.
it felt
Yeah.
like a caricature. It didn't feel like a real
Right.
person.
Okay.
All I
fair.
know is right when that line read happened, me and Marcus both at the exact same time, just like,
Yeah.
like we did.
So
I'm like, no, because at no point in any of Superman's lore did we ever get any sort of any sort of indication at all that they were some sort of like Southern, that type of country. Because you could be Midwest and still country without,
Sure.
So there's not
And-
like an official because he's from Metropolis. That's a fake place. He's never from like an official place.
Like,
I don't
I
know
mean,
enough about
you have
Superman to make
Smallville, but
well, he's from
it is.
Kansas.
Yeah,
That's where
Smallville's
he's
Kansas,
from.
though, right?
Yeah.
But they never come across as
Southern.
Yeah, like you were saying,
ridiculous.
South
yeah.
Right.
Right.
And but like with that said, there is stuff, should I say, in the trailer that I do do like. Like, I think some of the shots, like Crypto on his chest, looks good.
Agreed.
I think the Green Lantern using his power there looks really cool. There is stuff in the trailer I think looks good. There is also stuff I think looks ridiculous. Like, I just think the character of the engineer just did not need to be in the movie. There's like, let's list the characters in this movie. The engineer, who is Handblades lady.
Okay, that's who that is. Because I was like Jane Razorhands.
Yeah,
Like,
Jane Razorhands.
engineer, Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl,
Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner,
Yeah.
Metamorpho, Lex Luthor, Ultraman or somebody,
I just forgot about Metamorpho.
and
Yeah.
I guess Lois Lane, who's definitely going to be a major character.
Jimmy's going to be in there.
Jimmy
Olsen is going to be in it. He's being played
Because it's
by,
the guy from Righteous Gemstones,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
And then you have Ma Kent and Pa Kent, who they're obviously, their relationship is important.
We're already over 11.
There's just so many characters that you're going to have to spend
Win
so
all
much
this?
time with. And I'm like, this feels like a lot. And like it's going to be a movie about all of these characters, not a movie about Superman.
There was it was about
And
a
you're talking
year
about
ago.
editing too. Like
A year back, they talked about casting, and they kept announcing, "Well, this guy's going to be the person on the staff of the Daily Planet." Like, why do I care?
Yeah,
Who's
exactly.
The person.
How much is this guy
who's-
getting paid? Because we
who's
don't need
covering
this guy.
sports for the Daily Planet, whatever. I'm not watching a movie about CNN.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm watching a Superman movie. Why? You know,
yeah.
I will say this: I would rather watch a series about the Daily Planet than this movie.
right. That would be cool.
If
Like Gotham
they-
Central.
You know what I'm
like,
saying?
If
Yeah.
they
Oh,
adapt
man,
that
GCPD,
into a
yeah.
show,
Yeah.
that could be interesting.
But my thing is too, like, I'm not gonna lie, like,
Should they call the movie
especially
Daily
when we get
Planet
to
instead of
Andor
Superman?
later, like, a series can do so much more. Like, a movie doesn't really do much for me anymore. I grew up with movies and I love them forever, but it's like it's very rare that I get excited for a movie nowadays because I know it's gonna be rushed because the story does have too much going on usually.
And they've lost the art of the trailer making.
Oh my god,
They really
yeah.
have.
I've
They
stopped
really have.
watching trailers probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, around high school, so like 2005. I'm like, because like, yeah, they always show everything. Like, why do I know Green Lantern is in this? Like, I shouldn't even know. That should be a surprise later on. Like, he's not in it enough that he should be in the trailer. Like,
Yeah.
But I think the theater companies, the theaters, and
They wanna sell Green Lantern
They
tickets.
are concerned that people aren't going to want to watch a movie. They have to give away so much detail.
That's exactly, yeah.
to
They're not
have you
wrong.
buy in to where you say, I don't know if I want to spend $14 on a Friday night plus a ticket for my friend and for snacks and everything else. I'm spending
for this bag I'm
$50.
carrying and sneaking all these snacks.
Yeah,
in.
to go in there and watch the movie. I mean, what's it about? Superman. Okay, well, what else? I mean, let's see some special effects
Yeah.
and everything else.
So I would say this too, like, do you guys think like it's focusing on the action? Is that what it's supposed to be selling? Like, oh, this is going to be some high action.
I think they're trying to sell the relationship between Clark and the characters, and yes, the
All the
action.
characters, though,
Yeah.
not just him and Lois,
All
not
37.
him and his mom and dad, him and every motherfucker that lives
character, yeah.
in this universe.
And as I sit here, you guys know I love Superman. He's one of my favorite fictional characters.
Right.
I think he can be incredibly interesting when done well. I think when not done well, he can be corny and boring.
Right.
And I really like the first two Superman movies, the Donner movies, and I can't remember the name of the gentleman who pretty much directed the second one, but then there's the Donner cut. I don't like any of those other Christopher Reeves movies. He's fine in it. He's charming, but those movies are not good. I think Superman Returns is boring. I think Man of Steel misunderstands the character and is a dull-looking film. I think Batman vs. Superman also grossly misunderstands the character.
Too much stuff.
Both characters,
So
to be
I-
fair.
all those movies have
stuff in
all
that
those
movie.
movies have their moments.
Point
but they're not
right. And point being, as a massive fan of Superman, I don't want this movie to be a 10 out of 10. I need it to be a 10 out of 10. And if it is not,
So does James Gunn, to be fair.
I am
Yeah.
going to be disappointed. And am I setting myself up to be disappointed? Yeah, but I
can
don't
tell.
care. I need this movie to be.
It needs
I'll
to
take a
hit.
9 out of 10. That's the lowest I'll go.
We're gonna be talking a little bit about some Warner
But-
Brothers HBO stuff later on.
Yeah,
but
for better or worse, I have a vested interest in the character. I'm tired of watching. I've seen it. I said this in the chat with you guys the other day. I've seen a ton of, that was pretty good Superman movies.
Same here. That's how
I
I
don't
feel
need to watch another one.
Right.
Agreed.
And I desperately want this to be fantastic, but that did not inspire confidence. And this is coming from a person, I feel like a lot of people online who don't like it or are being vocal about not liking the trailer are people who are upset that the Zack Snyder stuff is over.
Oh, God.
I am not one of those people. I was
me
very happy when that stuff was over. And this is almost the opposite. It's gone too far the other way, and
But it's
it just
also
seems like
not to interrupt you, but it
No, no,
also
you're good.
does seem like it's going for that realism crap, like the Zack Snyder stuff was. Like it was, it's dark, it's Watchmen, it's this, because like it starts with him and Lois literally fighting.
Yeah, that's
Like
what it
that's
felt
how
like
it
to me.
started. Like we're
That's
gonna
what it
argue
felt.
about if I'm a terrorist or not. Like that's how we're really
Yeah.
gonna start Superman's whole new series.
and
Right.
This is not the third movie of the series. This is
yeah.
the fucking first movie.
much.
What are you doing?
my mom in the comments, shout out my mom. She says it made her like
Shout out.
the
Hey, Mom.
she said it
Shout
made her
out,
like
Carol.
the character who's playing Superman. So I guess it's doing that for he seems charming enough. I guess.
I mean, I'm not
But
mad at him.
no, but he was that part was fine, but I just don't know. I wanted to be blown away by the trailer, and I was not.
Well, I mean, time will tell. Are we going to get a second and third official trailers?
You know we are.
And with additional stuff. I
Well,
mean,
We're gonna
Out
see
in
the
2
whole
months,
movie
I
in 3
hope not.
trailers.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't go that route.
And
but
I was
I'm
talking
worried.
to Austin, our buddy Austin. He really liked the trailer. And he said, I think the movie will be similar to Iron Man, the first Iron Man. I said, it can't be.
Wow.
There are way too many characters in this already.
Yeah, no,
That
it's not.
movie
There's 3
was-
characters in that movie.
He was incredible. It was incredibly focused on Tony
4 if you
Stark.
count Rhodey.
This movie feels like it has 16 other things it's trying to introduce. Just have it be Superman, Lex Luthor, and whatever the Ultraman character
And there was a
is going
tease
to
of
be.
another character on an Iron Man. We've got like 4 people on camera already that we've seen that are already established characters. at
Them
least.
showing them
So-
fighting at the Fortress of Solitude. Like, you gonna show me that? You gonna give?
And
me
by the
that?
way,
You're just
Fortress
gonna
of
give that
Solitude
away?
look cool,
It
and those
does look
robots
great,
look dope.
But don't give it away. Like I know it's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be in
yeah,
here,
yeah.
bro. Especially once you showed how far evolved he already is as Superman. Like he's
Right.
already over here doing interviews as himself with his girlfriend, which is crazy talk to start the entire thing. Oh my god! So you don't even have a secret identity the second the trailer starts.
Yeah.
Oh my
Right.
god.
Right.
Whatever, bro. I don't know. It's not good.
I hope
It's not good.
it's fantastic.
I hope so. We already know it's not though. They gave it to us. They showed us what it is. Like it's not going to somehow fix itself.
It's really weird because I remember when I first saw it, I was like, first 5 seconds, I was like, oh, okay. So we're sitting down, we're having an interview.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
That's
this is an
Superman.
HBO wannabe.
And when it's like, okay, Miss Lane. Okay, so I'm like, okay, this is cool. But then,
But he kind of changes the inflection in his voice.
right, and
So that's kind of, I
Yeah.
don't know. I
And
kind
that's
of like
acting.
that.
I'll give-
and
good
that's
acting.
when I
Yeah,
and,
I kinda
yeah,
like
and
that.
that's when I get. That's why I'm kind of similar with Paul. Like, if it was edited a different way, where there's maybe a gradual tension or maybe not much being said, then I could be more sucked in more and be like, oh, okay, this might be kind of interesting.
Instead of starting with them fighting, they should have started with the dog on his chest.
yeah.
And just slowly go from there.
Yeah, yeah.
They ended with the dog.
They
on
should
the
have
chest.
started with,
I don't know.
I'll get your boots.
I'll clean your boots for you. Whatever, man. This whole thing is not gonna
Him
go
and
well.
Paul on the porch.
I'm not the guy. I'm not the audience. So I'm
Drinking
not the
sweet
guy,
tea.
but, like, man. Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like.
the deep South
I
Kansas.
mean, yeah, and as the
If
person,
you guys are gonna watch this all together, like you do
Oh,
sometimes, I want to go. That's all
you're
I
coming.
want.
You're already in. You're coming.
I'll book myself. Man. Let's go.
We're talking about the possibility of what if they did a Daily Planet series, you know,
We're over
kinda
here writing our own
set
shit.
groundwork for what they could be doing in future DC comics. We saw an incredible series that they executed. I mean, I'd give the show a 10 out of 10. It's something that gives you the
I'll give it
history
11.
and the foundation. You go 11 out of 10. It gives you the foundation and the history and all the setup for what is probably one of the most popular franchises, I'd say, within pop culture the last 50 years. I'm talking about, of course, Andor season 2 wrapped earlier this week. I know that you finished Andor season 2.
Yes, sir.
You finished it. Marcus
Hasn't even started yet.
Did you watch the first season? Okay,
No, because he
all
would
right.
already been in now.
Okay.
You can't quit after
He would
that.
have been strung
Yeah,
out
he
watching.
would've been
it
part of the
still.
rebellion
Yeah.
and shit, you
What
know?
did you guys? What'd you think of Andor season 2, or what did you think of the show as a whole?
The show as a whole, I loved it. I loved every minute of it pretty much. I would say this, it's the best thing Disney has made since the original Lion King.
Oh,
That's how
Okay.
good it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say that original Lion King. That's you don't hear much about that. That's pretty fire.
That's pretty sad that we don't hear about that.
yeah.
That's one of the greatest things ever made.
Right. And the
Especially
music
animation.
and
No,
everything.
everything.
Yeah. That Hans Zimmer soundtrack.
I don't know why they
is
do all
very-
these live action things what Disney's been doing, but
Right.
yeah, as far as it goes, what came first, Aladdin or Lion King?
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
That's what I thought. So Lion King came next and then Andor. Everything else in between, who cares?
Wow. All right. I like that.
Yeah, that's how I feel
from
about it, bro.
from the Schiller Meister.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Paul, you have been very excited each and every week when we're talking about Andor in the chat, or just, when we see each other talking about this show each and every week. What did you think? Felt like it went by really fast,
Well, I mean, you guys know me. I'm bad with TV shows, so I had to, especially 3 episodes a week. This week was actually a little easier. The episodes were shorter this week, but I just struggle with keeping up with TV shows.
It's not
I don't have
easy
the
to
time.
watch 3 episodes a week.
I work
It's
5
kinda-
days a
it's
week,
hard.
Yep.
10 hours a day. And then I have other
So
things going
excited,
on.
yeah, like you gotta
And
have to live your
release
life, too.
3
Yeah.
hour-long episodes of something a week that I have a vested interest in.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for me to catch up, but that's a testament to how good this show is because I did. And I watched them. And I don't really have much more to add past what I said last week. It just makes everything more interesting in the universe. It gives you context to when a bunch of rebels died to bring us to this place now, when they say that in A New Hope.
Right.
That was a line that was like, yeah. Now it's a line she says, and you go, yeah, a lot of people had a lot of really hard, terrible times and things that happened to them for them to be able to even get to this point. Luke
Right.
doesn't matter if it's not for Cassian Andor.
Yep.
Right.
Luke doesn't matter if it's not for Luthen or Mon Mothma. He can be the best Jedi ever he wants to be. If they don't do all the stuff that they did in this show, it doesn't matter. And it's not supplementing something that sucked like the Clone Wars and Rebels supplementing the sequel or the prequel trilogy,
which also
which I hate. I think I like the
I'm
prequel
with you.
trilogy a little more than you do, but
I
the
mean,
sequel
I remember
trilogy-
walking out of episode 1 as like a kid. I think I was like 12 or so, and being like, "What the fuck did they?"
Yeah. So, I do not like the prequel trilogy. I think the sequel trilogy has some redeeming factors. But with that said,
Now this is
they
pod
haven't
racing.
they haven't tried to they haven't tried to supplement the new stuff yet, which I'm sure they will. But
Yeah, they will.
people who do like the prequels now, a lot of them are like, well, Anakin had all this stuff going. That's not, you cannot accredit that to the film.
Nope.
You're saying that because you watched 4 hours of a cartoon.
More than that, more like 100.
Yeah, you cannot
Yeah,
you cannot
crazy.
credit the film. Oh,
I
this
binged
is-
all the
this
Clone
is
Wars
such
during
great writing.
COVID, bro.
I watched Anakin
Jendi, baby.
whine
ton.
and cry for 9 hours.
Oh, Hayden Christensen can't act.
And then when he had I just didn't care when he fought
I hope that's
Obi-Wan.
not a hot take.
And this actually, without trying to retroactively retcon or change like the way people acted, it just adds to it.
Dude.
Right.
What I'd say is, I like all things Star Wars.
I like a lot of Star Wars stuff.
I mean,
Me too.
I tolerate all things Star Wars.
Same.
There's stuff that's in Star Wars that I'm like, and then there's things I was like, wow, this is crazy. This has been a fantastic series to watch. Knowing
How bad?
I would equate it to like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and stuff like that, right? Better Call Saul obviously is after Breaking Bad. You know all the things that are going to be happening. You know everything that's going to be taking place in their whole timeline of these characters. You know what's going to be the end game to everything that takes
you know where
place
Andor ends up
with it.
Right.
You know all of those things. You don't know how they got there, and it's all of this setup and build up to how they get there that is. It's so good and it is so well done. And Jeff, I think Andor could connect to anything science fiction and work because of how grounded it is. We got 2 seasons of a show that didn't have to rely on Jedi beef or lightsaber battles.
Right.
We didn't have
Very
to
little dogfighting even.
Yeah,
in space.
he didn't have to throw a Darth Vader cameo in any of the series.
Right.
You know what
in
he
the
said?
movie.
They asked him why Palpatine or Darth Vader weren't in it. He said, if I needed them to be in it, they would have.
Yeah, if
I
they
did
fit the
not
story,
need
they
them to
would
be
have
in
been
there.
Right.
Yeah.
If they want to study how to pull off a great Star Wars series, you just watch what is done within Andor.
But like you also said, if you want to see how to make the perfect prequel to something, because like a lot of people say Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad. I do not. I don't even think it's close. I think that first season was almost unwatchable. I think eventually you figured out what they were doing and it got better. But I think what they were doing in Andor, like I never had to question it at all. Like the second it started, I was like, this is some cyberpunk ass shit. Like what is even going on? It didn't even feel like Star Wars. It was so much better. Like even the first season of Mandalorian, that first episode was almost like that, where you're like, oh damn, they're doing something.
No,
like, it was still
I
a
agree.
Western.
Yeah.
Your Western
Yeah.
callback.
It was still the Western. Yeah, exactly. And I love Westerns, obviously. But like, so Mandalorian gave me that hope at first. And then it became the Baby Yoda show. But
Right,
like Andor
right.
didn't have that problem, thank God. And Tony Gilroy and all this stuff, like, man, but to actually, like you said, to be able to take a character that was in something else, go all the way back and make it actually like feel legit. Like, because when you see Mike in Better Call Saul, he's like a superhero. He's like beating up 8 guys that are like half his age and they're 2 times bigger than him. It's ridiculous. But when you, even Last of Us, like they got Ellie beating up a guy 14 times her size in the first episode of season 2. But when you watch Andor, there's nothing where you're like, what the, that doesn't fit. You know, what the problem is when you finish Andor and you watch Rogue One again, it becomes a Disney movie again. And that's kind of the problem. Because I watched Rogue One right after. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I went to bed that night. So I'm like, I can't go. Because the way it ends like literally like, we're going into Rogue One, bro. There ain't even an ending. It's like, we're still not done yet.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, let's go. And I love Rogue One. Rogue One's the only Star Wars movie I felt like a war movie. So like when I watched Rogue One again, this is probably my 3rd time now. So the first time I watched it, it was whatever. It was dope. I loved it. Second time I watched it was right before Andor because I was like, you got to get ready, right? And then this time I watched it right after Andor, and now I'm just kind of like, man, I wish it was as good as Andor. Like it's in a rush. It's like every other movie, like we were just talking about with Superman. It's like they're rushing. They get to Forrest Whitaker's. They get to Saw. They got to get through all that. They got to see what Jyn was doing before she was here. They have to get Cassian in here. They have to get K2 in here. They have to get the entire rebellion in here. Mon Mothma shows up. Then so do all the other people from the like. It's just crazy, like how much of a rush it's in. Like if Rogue One was another season of Andor.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. The Genevieve O'Reilly who plays Mon Mothma.
amazing.
She's amazing.
She's my
in
new
this show.
favorite person ever.
Well, I mean, that's also too. You're talking about the 2 different mediums too.
Oh,
Because
completely.
in a series you can flesh things out.
So
you can
much
you can you can do that. Whereas you're kind of limited to I don't know the going standard is what 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, I would say at most 3
max.
hours if you're lucky,
Right.
right?
So I think the theater industry standard is like I think they can't go past like maybe 2 hours and 50
Yeah,
minutes or
because they have
something.
to have so many plays in a day,
Right.
otherwise they're not going to make any money.
So I think that's what you're seeing there as far as like the Rogue One limitation.
No, totally. But that's why I'm saying like even the theater existence at this point is almost like it shouldn't even like they should just stop making movies. Like just make TV shows. 'Cause the movies are just shitty versions of the TV shows now. And not only that, then there's certain there are like when you watch certain Marvel shows, they probably should have just been movies, honestly. So that actually, I guess you could. So.
They
get, but it's like they'll never make Superman the flagship DC show. They have to make a movie. They think, you know what I mean? But really, if you made a Superman show as good as Andor, it would be way bigger of a deal for the DC universe
That's
than this
interesting.
mediocre ass.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I think
Like the Sopranos of DC would be a bigger deal than any movie they could make.
and maybe if it was. I don't know if it was more traditionally released because everyone's getting streaming fatigue as well. That's kind of coming
Even just
up now
screen
more
fatigue,
and more.
I would think at this
Yeah.
point. Motherfuckers,
So it's like now we're talking, just doing it, in a traditional like TV show type of format where you have 1 episode a week, 30 minutes or an hour type of thing, where you can maybe flesh out more of this stuff, and then if it is a feature film, then I mean, I don't know.
Well, because like, look where Superman comes from, right? Comic books, and they're episodic, right?
Right.
Every issue, you get more and you get more, and you get hundreds and hundred thousands. I mean, there's probably a million damn Superman comics at this point, and that's the point. Like, one movie is never going to be enough. Like, you need more. You need it next week, the next week. Like, so like to tell a comic book story in the movies is crazy almost. Like, it's the exact opposite of how the story was told originally.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, that's probably why Alan Moore. That's an Alan Moore point too. He's not a fan of crossing mediums with stories at all.
That's why
And,
Magic
yeah.
Powder, like when I came up with it, it's not like one of my failed screenplays. It's something that could never be anything else. Like it's only
Right.
a comic book.
Right.
Like I don't write
It is what it is intended to be.
exactly.
Yes,
Like
yes.
it couldn't. Like I don't think you could have like guys dressed up all green and blue and stuff and like acted this
Well,
out.
you know what? To your point, and it's different genre,
Invasion.
but no.
Yo, I don't even. That's why I stopped watching Marvel. Was because of Secret Invasion, and not because it sucked. It was because they used AI in the damn trailer or the
sure.
opening, and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, me and Marvel are done.
But the film Bright has similar vibes
Shadowrun
to
is-
Magic
that's
Powder.
definitely,
But
Shadowrun
there's
inspired
just
too.
way too much going on in that movie for it to be interesting.
Yeah, and I never watched it because I don't like Max Landis, and Will Smith hasn't made a good movie, I feel like, in a long time. But that movie, it just felt like you said, like I seen the trailer on Netflix because we all had Netflix at that time, and they were like, "You got to see this, Bright," and whatever. And I'm like, "This looks like a really corny Shadowrun." That's
It
what
was
I thought.
corny. And the biggest problem with the show
And
is
mixed with Training Day.
again to your point, it was very trying to be Training Day.
Yeah,
without
you
being
could just see
Training
it
Day.
from the trailer. That's all I need.
But it's like
so obvious.
the world. It's one of those movies where, like, if you watch a great movie or TV show and there's some leaps in logic, but the show or movie is great, you forgive
You don't
them.
care.
You're like, it's all good.
Sure.
Right.
But if you watch a movie and there's confusing and it's just not the most well fleshed out, then the little nitpicky things you start to go, like, you
starts
know what?
coming more to the
You know what?
forefront.
That doesn't make sense. Like with Bright, there's just not very many interesting things going on, and they're trying to set things up, and you sit there going, so explain to me why the world as it is in this movie is exactly the same as my world right now that doesn't have orcs and dragons. Why did those two worlds
Somehow be the exact
turn out to
same.
be the exact same?
Right.
Just there's orcs and dragons. That doesn't make any sense at all.
I didn't see that for my bingo card tonight, Jeff. Is that we'd be talking about a Daily Planet television series, or that we'd be talking about a Bright, the Netflix film where
I'm a dangerous guest, bro.
no, I love it. I love it. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm having a good time. You guys. But I will say this about also with Bright and everything. I feel like, like you were saying, they're trying to build a world instead of tell a story.
Yes, that's what it feels like with the Superman movie.
Yep.
Like,
100%.
I want
Just
to
tell
watch
the
a
story.
movie
Tell
about
the fucking
Superman,
story. Right.
how much he loves Lois, and he has to stop somebody from destroying Metropolis. I don't need the superhero team that's clearly going to work for some government agency that's going to come in and try to
Yeah, more
stop it.
propaganda. That's what
They're gonna come in and they're gonna try to stop it, and they're not gonna be able to, and then Superman's gonna have to work with them. I don't care about that in the first Superman movie.
But you have to be hopeful.
But
for
we were
James-
hopeful, and then
you
they
have to be
showed us
hopeful
not
for
to.
James Gunn
He
for what
hasn't-
he's done in the past.
For me,
I mean,
with other projects.
Time out. This is a thing that happens in sports a lot, where it's like you want to pay a guy for something he did in the past. Like,
Okay.
nah, man, bro. Like, if you're making something new,
That's fair.
it needs to be good. I'm not paying you for your old story. Like, when I make a new comic book, no one's like, "Oh, Magic Powder was good." You automatically get my money. Like, nah,
Yeah.
fuck that. It needs to be good. Or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
go home and retire.
that's
He's
fair.
rich enough to retire. He don't need to do storytelling no more. We don't owe him. It's like Larry David. He's over here telling 500 million, whatever. And it's fine if you're good, but if you're not good, shut the fuck up. Yeah, you know what I mean? Let's go to the next guy. Like, I don't know. There's enough goddamn
Yeah.
people who think they can tell stories, but how many people can?
yeah, I get what I get what you're saying. I think James Gunn though has like
No, he's
the
super
Guardian
dope.
stuff, Suicide
Guardians
Squad is
dope.
good.
Suicide
So
Squad's
that's
great.
why, although I think what Frank's trying to say, although I did
Yeah, don't throw him in the
this-
garbage until we see the movie.
Right.
But
And
we
then-
did see the movie, sadly, because the trailer
I
showed the
mean,
whole
you can make
damn
that
scene.
argument.
It seems like we saw a
But
lot
because
of it.
it's him, I go, he may be able to make it work.
Fingers crossed.
So
we hope.
I like
to,
James Gunn.
to
I'm not
go
gonna
to
throw
go
him-
with your point, honestly, that's kind of how I am. That's why I try to. Yeah, sure, James Gunn, he has a great track history, but I also have to maintain a healthy amount of skepticism because you just never know. You never know what he's working with or what parameters Warner Brothers is giving him.
That's true.
You
That's the
just
thing.
don't-
When you're
you
working for
don't
a
know.
giant corporation, it's not like he's an artist doing what he wants to do.
Like
he's
if they,
a commercial.
Like if the CEO of Warner said, you know what, we trust James Gunn, we're gonna let him do it, and then back off, and we kind of were aware of it,
Which
in
is
some
kind
sort
of what
way.
Andor was when you hear the stories Tony Gilroy tells.
Yeah, I mean,
Where he was like, we had the budget, and they said we were going to lower the budget. And he said, well, we ain't going to do it. And then they said, well, here's the budget back. And he's like, all right, leave me the fuck alone. And now we have the best show that Star Wars will ever have.
so yeah, if you have if we know going in that we have a creative team that has been given the creative reins or creative liberty to, and the corporate guys are just hands off, that is reassuring that, okay, now we can allow for the creativity to breathe. They're not maybe hampered down so much by the producers or, timelines and, things got to be done by X, date and all this kind of stuff. That I think that would help. Well, that would help the film industry in general.
I was gonna say, that'd
Not
help all artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just the comic book movie genre that we have going on, but all movies really, if we could just, because it's not all about how much money you can put, push at a project. It's about how
What you
it's
get out of it,
it's the execution, it's the acting, making sure that they have enough time to go through the footage, pick all the best takes of which of the scenes, put it together, and
Giving them time to get the coverage they need. while on set and stuff, yeah.
Right. And then instead of giving us like these little stiff, cutting room floor
rush
jobs, and then putting it together and calling it a trailer.
But this is why I
that could
don't
be
even
kind
watch trailers, because it's like the opposite of what we want. Like, we want the fucking full story, right?
Right.
And I know I'm gonna watch Superman.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's Superman. I don't need to be pitched Superman. Like, it's like, okay, there's
Yeah.
a new Superman movie. I'll check it out.
Right.
So
That's
like
fair.
I watched the trailer literally because I'm coming on here with you guys, and like I watched. This is the first like 3 trailers I've watched probably in 20 years, like on purpose. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you go to the movie theaters, there's nothing you could do. But yeah, because like you guys are saying, like, it's literally made as a commercial, and like when you're making art, that's not how you make it. You're not like, oh man, they're gonna cut this little part out for 6 seconds of the trailer.
Well, that's exactly what's happening. Like, you're describing exactly what's happened with that Lois and Clark conversation.
where they just pulled it out.
I actually have full confidence that within the movie,
It'll be great
That'll
dialogue.
work.
Yeah, I think it'll be way better.
The idea of Lois like interrogating Clark and going like, "Did you think about your actions?"
It was
before you
kind of
did
like
them?"
Marcus said. That first couple seconds, I was like,
Yeah.
like, okay, what do you got
then
for me?
they-
But then
they chop it up. They got to get it short enough in 15 seconds to
It's
get
an
it into
interesting
the
way
thing.
to start the scene. That's
And
what
it
starts the
just-
show.
such a weird way to introduce us to a news.
Yeah, I think maybe if you do the beginning of the interview and then you're like, oh, I wonder how that'll go in the movie. But then you know how it ends. He has a big reaction and screams at her that he's trying to save people, which
gave
is
us-
cool.
yeah, they gave
and
us
very
almost that whole
Superman,
you know.
but also like
too much.
it felt very disjointed and then put me in a weird
went
mental
from 0 to
space for the
60,
rest
like
of
Just
the,
to start the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, I don't know if I love that. And then everything else starts popping up. I'm like, I don't know.
You don't even have time to process it. 'Cause it's-
We're gonna watch another trailer, see if we can get Jeff to go to the movies twice.
Oh,
this
I'm gonna say
summer.
something mean about this one.
If you're a fan of John Wick and just brutal violence, you mentioned
watched
Better
this one
Call
yet.
Saul. Bob Odenkirk is
I love
back
Odenkirk. This is
in
a show, baby.
Nobody 2. The movie's gonna be out in August, I believe. And
Yeah, that's
if-
what it says
yeah,
15
it's-
times.
Yeah. So we're gonna check out the trailer for Nobody 2. I love it.
I've come to terms with the fact that you don't have an average job.
You guys having fun at the convention?
But we haven't seen you in months.
What happened to your eye?
Somebody fouled me at the game.
What game?
The one you missed.
And summer break's just a few days away.
We should do something. Strictly family time.
Come on, kids. It can be an adventure.
I love the song choice.
I had it on in my room. I'm like, my dad's probably like, what the fuck is he listening to?
Is that Doc? Christopher Lloyd?
I am just so happy that we're all together.
Hey, city boy.
Hey.
Get out of here. Let's go right now.
I understand protecting your sister, but there are other ways to handle things. I left my phone.
Hutch, no.
Well, I like your way better.
What the hell, Hutch? On our first date?
I think I stumbled into something.
You're vacationing in an old bootlegging route, full of drugs.
Of course he
crooked
was.
cops, and one woman who controls it all. You didn't take your family there, did you?
Yeah.
You'll want to de-escalate the situation.
De-escalate. No escalating. Guys, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm here on vacation.
Find this nobody. Scorched earth.
I
Hey,
just
that's the
want a
name of the
break.
movie.
I love like when people do the cut of all the people saying the name of the movie.
man.
Like Rogue One, they say it a few times.
We all have different sides. But most of all, you're a dad. Go fix this shit.
say August 15th
Dude,
like
I
3
can't.
times.
August, it's 148 degrees outside. I mean, I can't wait to watch that. You kidding me?
Can't wait to melt it. All I'm gonna say is I don't know if you guys seen Mr. In Between, but Odenkirk definitely has.
So what's it called?
Mr. In Between. It's a TV show about like an Australian guy who's like a hitman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of this is there's like literally direct shots taken from the show.
Oh wow.
It's on Hulu or something, or it's FX.
Probably. I mean,
It's an
I
FX
live
show.
on the high seas, as they say, so I don't know where anything is anymore.
Oh,
But
all right.
yeah, I'm not paying Disney or any of these people.
Oh, okay.
Understood.
You're off the grid. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. I'm an indie comic maker. I'm not trying to make Marvel comics.
Look.
You know what I'm saying? I believe the term was what was it, cord cutter?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You find your ways.
Yeah, exactly. You think I'm paying for the Gotham Sports Network to watch these games? Come on,
Bro.
Whoa.
You think I'm paying Yes Network to watch the Yankees games?
Well, MLB TV is free with my phone.
MLB TV
But they
is,
block us out of 9 things because
a joke.
Yeah.
They play. I'm sorry, I'm getting on.
We get blacked
They
out.
play a game in. They play a game in San Diego, and I can't watch it because I live in Las Vegas. I'm 400 miles away. What are you talking about?
And not only that,
I don't have the local station. I can't go to Petco Park.
Yeah, we're not close enough.
Why
to go.
can't I? Why is this game blacked out for me?
So not
Petco-
but
Petco
not only
Park
is
is a
San
nice
Diego,
I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm
San Diego.
stealing your content, MLB.
We
I
have
don't
to.
care. I can't watch it if I don't.
bro. Like we live in Vegas. They
Block 'em.
black us out of the entire California and Arizona. Like like what? We're
That doesn't
we're
make
just
any
everybody's market. Like how does that even work? Pick a
So-
team and we can be that one
so I'm-
market maybe.
So I'm just going to steal your game.
yeah, exactly, bro. Like, it is what it
Anyways,
is.
the Nobody trailer.
yeah, nobody. Baby.
That was great.
Golly, man.
Yeah.
But-
I'm out here ranting with my man.
Yeah. So he gets it. But so this is everything. So Quan thinks I don't like the John Wick movies because I don't love them as much as everybody else. I think they're fun to watch, but these kind of gun fu movies, I do not find them as entertaining as everybody else.
I can't wait
I
for
think it's very repetitive. I watch the same fight 10 times in a movie. There are some exception, like in John Wick 3, the Dragon's Breath shotgun scene is incredible.
Now I
but,
gotta see that.
But
That sounds
most
dope.
of it, it's
4.
Oh, 4. Sorry.
Oh,
Didn't mean to offend
Gotta
Quan.
get it right.
But it's just
Dude,
they're
offended
always
Quan quick.
fun, but they're never like some elevated. I left going, oh, that was super. Like I really thought that was interesting, and I think the difference is for me with something like Mission Impossible is there's a plot that has me intrigued in a movie like that,
Yeah,
and
spy
then
plots have
and then
that.
there's action. There's Tom Cruise jumping off of an airplane or something like that.
Next week.
Which you
This-
know he did in a crazy, like logical,
He's
like
60 years
physical,
old. He's jumping
practical
off of
way,
stuff
which just
and
makes
whatever,
it
bro.
a filmmaking kind of like event to see
Right,
that.
exactly.
You
You
know,
know,
it's
he
like John,
did-
you know,
Agreed.
Keanu's not doing anything crazy.
But you know, like with this movie, there's always some ridiculous line that just explains everything away. Oh, you accidentally vacations in a cartel's trafficking area and you made the wrong cop mad. Oh, bro, of course he did.
And then Colin
Of course he did.
Paul.
Will it be fun to watch him break that guy's jaw? Yeah.
Paul.
But it's just going to be kind of fun.
Yeah.
In the
If he
middle of
didn't
August.
So you're telling me if he didn't do that, there wouldn't be a movie.
But see, here's
right?
what's, where the
If he didn't-
confusion
if he
middle
gets
didn't
of
lost.
stumble-
August.
If
That's
he
how
didn't
storytelling works.
Yeah,
They put
if he
a
didn't
bunch of
stumble in
movies
that
out
park,
that are there for your entertainment.
But I think
And
what
this
Paul's
is gonna
saying
be one
is,
of those
like-
movies that you're going to watch and be entertained.
And I am
Well, what he's saying
entertained
is
by
like
them.
there doesn't
Yeah.
need to be a franchise of Nobody. Like the
Yeah.
first one was entertaining. Now he's just gonna go
yeah.
stumble into cartel, like what Fast and Furious 10. Like you know what I mean? It's just gonna get more ridiculous.
I don't
And that's
know
what
if we are
I
going to
think
be
he's saying.
getting.
Not yet. This is only 2. So right now Paul Walker's gonna be with
Four
Tyrese and
nobodies.
stuff.
Paul Walker.
Yeah, I just think overall these action movies, like the idea is to raise the stakes every one, blah blah blah, whatever, which is over the top as fuck. We live in a world where like there's enough fucking violence,
Bro,
And
there's
then it's
15
like-
Fast and Furious movies. We went to space.
like
in
I
a
said, I stopped at number
duct
1.
tape Fiero.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's where we're going with these movies. Like, yeah, they have to keep raising the stakes.
Of course.
Although it would be cool to see a movie that did the opposite. Like Nobody was whatever. It was fine.
They're trying to outrun a nuclear
And-
submarine in a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah,
In a
you-
pickup
They
truck.
drove down the Hoover Dam or whatever, right?
Doesn't he
I don't-
doesn't his car shoot like a battering out of it and snatch a helicopter out of the sky or
I don't
something?
Bro, probably.
I don't know. But so with all of that said, these
Most
movies
likely.
are entertaining.
Of course.
But I don't love them the way most of the
It's my-
people that are usually on our
I've
podcast.
seen Nobody
do.
Won, but I haven't seen any of the other movies we talked about. This
Right.
segment.
Well, I mean, it's just a bunch of guys going, having drinks, getting big tubs of popcorn, and then just having a good time.
And I have to
literally that's
I
all
watch
these movies are.
Keanu
But to me,
Reeves.
it's more fun to just stay at the bar drinking. Like go to the stupid movie theater with a bunch of people to be quiet while I'm drunk. That does not sound fun.
Well,
I'm too loud to be at a
But
drunk ass.
to
movie. I don't know.
what's it called? I go watch Keanu Reeves and now Bob Odenkirk in this movie. I watched, Bob Odenkirk's line reading is fine, but with the John Wick's movie, I watch him have a fun fight with somebody and then have the worst line of dialogue reading I've ever heard. I'm thinking I'm back. Bro, shut up and go shoot somebody, please.
And not only that, as far as like, not only Keanu and stuff, who's Bill and Ted to
He
me
had
still.
that on a teleprompter in front of him, and he did it 6 different times.
And that was the best
And
one.
they went, yeah, sure, that's fine, Keanu.
That's it.
And the
Nailed
thing
it.
is, he doesn't care. He's not like over here like,
No,
I'm
that's
Daniel
not what you're
Day-Lewis.
watching the movie
No, you're
for,
right.
but I mean,
He's selling you like SVU, like when people watch that Law and Order shit, they don't care that it's good acting. They just want to, the garbage in their mind, so they don't have to think about what their
Tanya
real
said
life
it
is
looks
like.
way better than Batman. She can't wait.
The Batman?
The Batman. She
Yeah,
said.
but the Batman sucked. So that's what
see, we disagree there. I love that film.
I hate it.
But,
when you call that guy the Riddler and he ain't nothing like the Riddler, I'm like, I'm out.
but Tanya just is being annoying.
Yeah,
And the Penguin
that's
also
great.
was not a great show. How many
Wow,
times
he
did
didn't like the Penguin.
The Penguin got kidnapped like 14 times in the series. And like, if you're getting kidnapped by gangsters, you ain't getting out of it 14 times, bro. Like
Oh, yeah,
every
he did.
single episode, he gets kidnapped. It was ridiculous. I'm like, all right, I'm not watching the next season of this,
Oh man.
Schiller can
Penguin-
with hot takes.
bro. Like I just
Penguin, that's for
don't
sure.
like
He's-
just because they put it out don't mean I gotta like it. You know?
No,
what I'm saying?
no,
I
not
feel
at all.
Like that's
not
how
at all.
people feel about it.
No,
Oh, it's
this-
good because it
this-
exists. Like
yeah,
no.
no.
These are a bunch of
totally
overpaid
agree.
yuppies trying to make art, and it's not very good most of the time. I'm gonna be real about it.
I feel you on that. I feel it.
Like Colin Farrell's movie, what was it? The Banshees of Inisherin or whatever. That was a great movie.
I like that movie as well.
The Batman
Which one?
is not even in the same realm of existence as that movie. Like,
What
are
was
you crazy?
it? The Banshees of
Banshees of Inisherin. It's
It's
very
about
good,
a bunch of. It's about two friends who stopped being friends in Ireland back in the day. It's like just a
It's
goofy
very
ass
good,
movie,
yeah.
but there ain't 130 characters in it. I'll tell you that.
yeah. No, it's, yeah, you definitely. It's a
Wait for Banshees of Inisherin 2.
Banshees of
But I'm
Inisherin.
still
all
waiting-
the
I'm
rules.
still waiting for In Bruges 2. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't need to make sequels of everything.
Banshees of Inisherin is
Oh,
very
wow.
funny, but also very like emotionally driven.
It's an intense
Yeah.
movie, bro. But it also gives you like a period of a place you probably don't know anything about. So you also get to learn some stuff.
They all live on this little island that's isolated from like the rest of Ireland
and the UK,
and
yeah.
the UK, and like, they're
and
all
they
a
have
bunch
their it's a pretty good movie. But like I'm saying, like when you have movies like that out there, and then you're gonna make
You'd
me
rather
watch
watch
this,
that.
100%,
Yeah.
that's
No,
what I'm saying.
fair.
I'm not the
Yeah.
audience for these things.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all
yeah.
I'm saying. Like at all. And I know there is an audience out there, so they don't need my ass. So
The
I'm gonna
audience
tell
is-
them they suck.
the audience for the Batman and Penguin are the other 3 people sitting at this table.
Yeah,
And that's okay.
That's great. Do we have? We're gonna do Copper Drop. I usually don't. I'm not gonna sing and scream and yell like Shane normally would. But let's
right,
go
whatever.
ahead and get into our books. I'm gonna start with our guest
You're not even gonna say you schnooks.
and get your books and your schnooks.
Get the books and the
All
schnooks.
right, so I wanted to go pretty indie with it, so I decided to bring 2 comics that are my favorite indie series since Magic Powder came out. Well, one's not even a series, but the first one is this is called Trakovi. It's by my man Adrian Kolaric. He wrote it. He did all the art. He's from Canada. He also did some Public Defender art, if you ever read that. So this also came out at the exact same time I did my first Kickstarter. It was on Kickstarter. And so he looks like a superhero kind of outfit, right? But it's more like almost like a messed up crime story. And so you get this guy, he's like, obviously Slavic and all that kind of stuff, but he's just he's almost like a villain or a henchman almost, like, and he's just going to like Alcoholics Anonymous and dealing with like real life problems. But the art is insane. And the writing is like nothing I've ever seen. Like I was just like, I've never seen a comic like this. Like it's not a superhero comic. It's not anything, but it's just like, you could tell like someone's going through something when they make a comic like this. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
very,
Like,
very
yeah.
abstract, very trippy.
And so like this is the first issue. I got it on Kickstarter. He eventually put the series on Scout. So you go to Scout Comics, you get the whole series.
Oh,
It's out there. Adrian killed it. And then next I have Full Tilt by Jason Copeland, who he's also from Canada. All these Canadian motherfuckers getting down. So he wrote it and he also did the art. And the story's cool. It's like a, kind of like a futuristic Yakuza like story, kind of like that kind of mafia thing. But what really kills me and like what I love about it is like this guy might be the greatest.
Black and white.
No, well, yeah, it's black and
love
white,
it.
so it's got the
Yeah.
Sin City and all that. It's like noir meets sci-fi and stuff. But like his layouts are insane, man. Like just the page layouts are nuts. It's like, and there's tons of like, just like full splash. Like I can't even find the pages now, but like yeah, just like the way he builds everything. Like I've never seen like if you're ever making a comic of your own and you just like, oh, what kind of panels should I use or something like that, man, you go through Full Tilt and you're gonna get some, pretty good inspirations. Like and like I said, he wrote it and the writing's great, but like look how little dialogue he uses. And that's another thing. Like when you read Magic Powder, I'm not out here just filling the pages up. Because when you get people's like adverts for like a new comic or a Kickstarter or something like that, and the first page is like bubble, 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 bubble. Like, bro, I'm not fucking reading this. I don't want a fucking novel in my comic. Like, I want to pop, pop, pop. Like, it's a video, like a TV show, like a movie. Like, I want it to move.
Right.
But if I'm sitting here 10 minutes on
if you
one
wanted
page,
to read a novel, you would read a novel.
Yeah, bro, I have books. Like I told you, we go Blood Meridian, whatever. But like, this is a comic book, bro. Like, stop fucking trying to tell your whole story on the first page so people know what you're doing. Like, just trust they can understand a story. And Jason does. So like, yeah, I love his storytelling. I think he's a great artist. You could find that, Jason Copeland, you can only find that digitally, the Full Tilt. But like I said, Scout Comics, Tracova, you can get the whole series still.
Where'd you get this one then?
From him. He did Zoop, which I would not recommend. I think I just spit all over the world. Zoop is like a different crowdfunding. Like instead of Kickstarter, they have like BackerKit, Zoop, Indiegogo. So Zoop is a joke. And if Jason would have done it on Kickstarter, he probably would have tripled his money. But he killed it. He probably was one of the most successful things ever on there. It's to the point where like a stretch goal was making this hardcover. It was just going to be like this, like a trade paperback. But he made so much money it was a hardcover. This thing you could beat someone to death with. So it's also good for that. But overall, I would say, yeah, Jason's a badass. I hope he makes more comics because this took him years. Like when I was making Magic Powder, he would be on Twitter being like, "I'm on page 300 and whatever, and I'm laying it out and all this stuff," and I'm just like, man, this guy's grinding. Right. And then the book ended up being amazing. And like if you ever look up reviews, I'm sure they're amazing. But yeah, it's impressive that like their indie comics can be this good. And that's like why I brought them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks dope.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, and like if you guys want to borrow it, just let me know. Because you can read the physical copy. I don't mind letting it out.
Nice. Paul, what you got?
Me next. All right, so the first one I'm going to talk about is one I did not like very much, but it was the one I said I was going to do before I read it. So the new Supergirl comic started, written by Sophie Campbell and art by Sophie Campbell and colors by Tamara Bonvillain. The colors, Tamara Bonvillain is always very good. It's very bright, very colorful, very well done comic in that regard. The art is fine. I was hoping this was going... I didn't look up anything about it. I had no idea what it was going to be about. No, I didn't think it was going to be Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King. I didn't think it was going to be of that quality.
Right.
I just thought it was going to be something.
Something fun. Yeah.
And it's nothing. She goes back to her hometown, and all of a sudden, nobody knows her, and there's another girl there who is somehow has everyone believing that she's Supergirl. It's very strange. It's very like teenage girly. It did not work for me at all. And I know usually we pick books that we really liked. I had a busy week. I had to pick two before and then read them. I did not like this, and I will not be reading the second issue. But the other book that I got, which I did very much like, I got the blind bag for Invincible Universe Battle Beast issue 1. This is the cover I ended up getting in it. Most of you guys know, and people who watch, I don't really care about which cover I get. I want to read the comic.
I'm the same.
Absolutely.
If I want to see the other covers, there's plenty of pictures on the internet.
It's like the NFT thing, right?
Yeah,
like you can just look at it.
I can just look at it. It's cool. But the dialogue is ridiculous, and it's a lot of tell don't show, unfortunately. But the art, Ryan Otley's art, and then when they finally get into the action of it, is super dope. There's one panel in particular that I really liked that I want to show. Give me just a second. Let me get there.
Ryan Otley's gonna be an amazing con.
This is just
nice.
This is super dope. Like this is the kind of thing that I read.
I think that was in the preview.
I like
that's
that.
pretty
gorgeous.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. The reds,
nice
the
shot.
purples, the blues, the blacks. It just looks very good. And the comics was super dope. Not the most well-written thing I've ever read, but I'm going to get issue 2 for the art alone. And I think it was super dope.
Cool.
Very cool.
Marcus, what do you got?
So this first comic actually came out last week, but we were talking about Free Comic Book Day, so I was just like, okay, I'll save it for this week. But it was actually really good. It's called Blood and Thunder, and it's by Benito Sereno, and art and cover art is by E.J. Sue, which is someone who I've never heard of, so he might be an up-and-coming one. but it's about it's kind of, it has some Total Recall vibes because it's set in a world where she lives on this city that's actually it's been established on a stray asteroid type of thing, and where aliens and kind of humanoids coexist. And she is a bounty hunter, and Thunder is actually that gun that she has. It's like a smart, it's like a talking gun. It's like a smart computer in her that helps her find her bounties as a bounty hunter. And as you read the story, you find out that that she actually, her father was a very well regarded law enforcement officer, and she kind of failed out of the academy or dropped out or something like that. But she's, she is still, utilized by, she has very fond, she's very fond of the chief, and they are attached because he knew her as she was growing up, and he actually uses her from time to time for, to help supplement law enforcement, help find those people.
Kirkman worked on that too.
Yeah.
I see his name.
Yeah. So he kind of helps. She helps him find some of the harder to track down criminals in their world, and it's set up very nicely, and it was a lot of fun to read. And I think Ralph said that it's actually already gone to second print, so it's kind of
already
moving. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, okay, cool, because I thought it was really cool. The art was very engaging. And then this one came out this week. This is Exquisite Corpses by James Tynan and Walsh on art. I got the polybag version, which really was not that different than the Abe, although it did come with like a trading card of one of the main characters in there. That's cool. And it's essentially what you have is what you have is a group. Yeah. What you have is a group of, so you have, it starts off with this guy being approached by this lady who's part of this very powerful rich family. And the setup is a group of the most powerful families in the world come together every 5 years at Halloween, and they basically battle for control of the world, essentially. And so this lady is recruiting this guy who has a prior experience as black ops guy, but he was kind of disgraced out of his line of work, so he kind of just went into obscurity. And so she's trying to pluck him back and convince him to come back and work for her. So, with the promise of being able to redeem, clear his record and get back into what he wants to do. And so you have all these different families are hiring all these different really crazy far out assassins to try to, to basically play a war game, assassin against an assassin. And what they do is they'll pick a random city or small town. They'll completely seal off that city, unsuspecting to any of the citizens that live there, and cut off the phone, the internet, everything. So they're completely cut off.
WandaVision,
and they pretty much and it becomes like a killing field. And it's really good. And I was actually very surprised. And this was the first issue. It's going to be pretty good. I think that going forward is going to be very interesting. And then,
All right, cool. We are running short on time, so I'm just going to do it real quick because I mentioned Transformers. Daniel Warren Johnson's run on Transformers is coming to an end. He's got 4 issues left. Transformers, I believe, is still going to be going. We just don't have a new writer attached.
And I won't be reading it anymore when he's not writing it.
Not even going to give the first episode.
For me, it depends.
Because he was writing it.
It depends.
But they're hoping that'll retain people.
Nope. Really good balance of storytelling and a good amount of action as well. There's some cool moments between Megatron. As the Decepticons have split into 2 groups at this point. Megatron and Starscream is always screwing over Megatron. And then Spike, of course, and Optimus. They have a nice moment as well. I love the fact that Daniel Warren Johnson loves Transformers so much that it comes across in the pages of all the issues. This is, it's issue 20, but it feels like it kind of comes full circle to what they've done with Void Rivals and the start of Transformers, the connecting points. It's so cool. I've really enjoyed this whole series, and it's been fun. Like the whole time, it's been really cool to check out.
That whole Energon universe.
It's been good. Jeff, first off, thank you for hanging out tonight.
Yep.
We appreciate you being here. We know Front Row's coming up this weekend. Anything else you wanted to mention or talk about?
Yeah, just check out the Kickstarter. You know, I'm on all social media as Jeff Schiller. So if you want the link, just go find me on there.
Pull the mic a little closer to you.
Oh yeah, Jeff Schiller on social media. Kickstarter goes for another 17 days. It'll end on June 1st. If you don't have Magic Powder yet, it's the best way to catch up on the first 6 issues. And that's about it. And you can get Public Defender and the Alpha No Name as add-ons. So.
Marcus, what do you got going on?
Honorable mention, check out Space Ghost as well, the crossover, Johnny Quest and Space Ghost. It's also pretty awesome. Joe Casey is writing it, and it kind of continues the thread from what he started with the first miniseries that he started off, and that's been really great as well. So, yeah, be sure to check that out. And also, the hardcover deluxe edition of Superman Up in the Sky was released this week.
There you go.
My favorite Superman story.
May have been one of the inspirations for
King,
what they were putting together with this, right?
Tom King, Andy Kubert.
Maybe.
That's a very Superman-focused story, so I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
When we're debating how many times we're going to see the Superman movie, how can they get a hold of us in the interwebs there?
While we're debating how many times we're going to see the Superman movie, they can get at us on the interwebs at @into_comics on Twitter, at Into the West Comics on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Pods, YouTube. And what we want everyone to do right now who is watching this and tell a friend and tell that friend to tell a friend is go watch our Free Comic Book Day video.
Yep.
Dre shot all of that. I edited it together on Monday and got it out. Just a lot of really good people doing really fun stuff for the community. And we talk about it a little bit in the video, but the comic book community is very much not some big corporate business. You have probably some exceptions, but they're all their own shops. Yeah. We only have, off the top of my head, we have one shop that has multiple stores, and it's Maximum. And the other one is franchise. It's owned by the guy and ran by the guy who has that one. It just has the same name. This is supporting small businesses, people who are passionate about what they do. And I love when people bring their kids and get them involved, because that's how I learned how to read when I was a kid. My dad put The Death of Superman in my hand when I was 5-6 years old, and I read it. And I was a strong reader in school because of it. And I think that that's great for kids in a great doorway into reading things like Blood Meridian when they get older. Go check out that video, please. Shout out Kwani, just linked it again.
The link is there in that chat, and we're going to be posting that as well up there over the next couple of days, so you can go check that out. We wanted to shout out Cosmic Comics, Alternate Reality, Maximum, the OG store, Fort Apache and Trop, the Maximum Northwest, and Gorilla Todd. This is the first time you saw Gorilla Todd's shop.
Right on the corner from my house, yeah.
Yeah, it's right over there by you. Yeah. So we got to see 5 shops, and I guess according to Jeff's plan, next year we're going to get a party bus and go to as many as we can. We'll check it all out. That's actually a very good idea, Jeff.
I'm down.
Take notes about that. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. We really would appreciate it. Actually, don't even consider it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Like, subscribe,
and
follow.
Subscribe, follow. Go ahead and share us with a comic book fan in your life. And again, we want to thank Jeff Schiller. Go and see him at Front Row Card Show this weekend. Saturday and Sunday is going to be at the Rio Hotel and Casino. He'll be hanging out maybe near our buddy Steven Lolito.
Steve's like behind me. He's not next to me this time. I'm
he's close.
11. He's like 8.
So you'll have to round the corner.
Yeah, I'll be able to see
reach
him
around
the whole time and like start.
A good old reach around.
The good thing is
for Jeff and Steven.
You know, like I can send people his way and he can send people my way.
Right.
So they'll walk past 3 other people on the way to us. So that'll be good.
Yeah, that's dope.
Guys, have a great evening. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. And again, thanks to Jeff.
Yeah, shout out Jeff.
Loved it. It was great.
Thank you guys. Shout out to you guys for doing a dope studio podcast about comics in Vegas. That's what's all about.
Have a great evening. We appreciate you, buddy. And we'll see you next week. Probably.
Muchos besitos.
Yeah, probably. As long as we're all
There'll be a lot more yelling next week because Shane and Sonny will be back. I got a text from somebody that said, "Wow, you guys are so much more analytical without those two on."
Jesus.
Wow.